Well, if you had to name the busiest airport in Idaho, could you do that? It's not Boise. Every day, the Caldwell Airport handles about 200 takeoffs and landings. It's a general aviation airport, so nearly all of them are local pilots and businesses. You won't see any big names like, as you know, Delta or Alaska taxiing from the terminal. Because it's become so popular, though, the city wants and needs a bigger airport, which is where you come in, Abby. There are some big changes and some small ones too on the horizon there, right?
Yeah, well, I'm actually told that expanding the airport has always been the plan. And in fact, there's already small changes in place. And some of those include adding a wash rack for airplanes and designating space for more hangars. But some bigger changes are coming up as well, and not everyone supports them.
This is where I do everything from play to work.
Caldwell's airport means a lot to pilots like Joe Dory.
I've been coming here forever, 20 plus years.
Not only does Dory fly for fun,
This picture over here is me years ago flying.
he also owns his own business selling airplanes and gas.
We do a little bit of everything.
But the airport Dory once knew looks a lot different now.
The growth at this airport has been explosive. We're losing our small hometown airport feel and more of a corporate type vibe that's coming to our airport. And for some, that's hard to swallow, and including me.
More airplanes fly in and out of Caldwell's airport than any other airport in the state, including Boise's. Caldwell's Public Works Director Brent Orton says just last year, there were 147,000 takeoffs and landings.
People want to know that, hey, if I'm going to have a fleet of large aircraft, they're going to be safe flying in and out.
But right now, Caldwell doesn't have a control tower.
And people, I think, in general would like to see that tower because it helps organize and that takeoffs and landings and keeps people safe.
But not everyone's happy with the idea.
Right now we can come and go as just basically self-announcing that we're leaving or coming. It will run off a lot of people that don't want to have to talk on the radio and ask for permission to come and go.
The city's also looking to extend its only runway for bigger aircraft, which officials say is another reason to add a control tower.
That runway extension's a big deal because it will facilitate some of the larger commercial folks who may want to operate here and may not consistently be able to do so.
But the city is going to make sure that this airport does all that it needs to do in order to be sustaining and growing our community for their benefit.
These changes are a long way off, at least 5 years. But for longtime pilots like Dory,
This is my village.
change is already in the air.
I used to know everybody and everybody's wife and their kids, and now I don't know half of them.
And in this case, he says even bigger changes are inevitable.
I welcome a control tower sooner than later. Somebody's going to get hurt around here because it's so busy.
All of these changes, big and small, are outlined in the airport's master plan. The Federal Aviation Administration has to approve adding a control tower and extending the runway, since there are certain regulations the airport has to meet, and Orton says they're going through that process right now.
Okay, so this is still a few years off, but who's going to be paying for these changes and upgrades?
Yeah, well, the FAA would actually pay for extending the runway, but the city itself would be in charge of paying for adding that control tower. How they'll cover that cost exactly, Orton says they're still trying to figure that out, but hopefully they'll receive some sort of grant.
Okay, so they're hoping to get some help with that. All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Abby.